Appreciate it.
She called me. Amazing.
Yeah, buddy. You could be anywhere in the world, but you are here with us. IMHO Talk Show. Tell a friend, tell a friend, because you know where we are. 101 Jam, Charlottesville's number one for R&B, hip hop, and classics. Sir Charles in the booth in the building, and we have a great one lined up for y'all. Thank you for staying tuned, sticking with us. We are here for you, Seville. Taking Seville to the world, bringing the world to Seville as only IMHO does. And man, we're going to close out today's show with none other than the vice chair of your City of Charlottesville School Board, uh, Don Morse. And it's a jam-packed show leading up until that, but we know you don't want to miss that. And you called for it, and our good friends over there answered the bell. So Don will be joining us, and stay tuned. There's so much for us to do as a community and to stay engaged with. Um, as been said, we're gonna be solutions based. We're not gonna point fingers and point blame. We're gonna be solutions based, and it takes us all. But in between there, we got so many good things. CIC has a lot going on. Registration period for our potential and prospective business owners and whatnot. Great program. If you haven't heard of that, you want to stay tuned. Her Sports continuing to do great work, having big fundraisers to close out the year to continue empowering our female athletes. Jessica Carter is going to join us. we are going to also be joined by Ty Cooper. He's going to be talking about his indie film festival and other things he has going on. But the film festival early next year is going to be big. It's going to be workshops, education, good entertainment, and all that stuff for the whole community. So can't wait to hear about that. But right now, our dear friend is with us, the great someone that I have a pleasure of knowing, Leah Puryear. Miss Puryear, how are you doing today?
Charles, I'm doing great. And before we get started, I just want to thank you and your team for all that you do for the community.
Thank you.
It is so often that we hear, oh, there isn't anything in the Black community, or there are not things for people to do, or they don't know about this, that, and the third. But you make sure that those things happen. And for those of us that live in the community, we are forever grateful, because without you, we couldn't be who we are. So thank you.
I appreciate that. And coming from you, that's icing and cherry on top. To get that kind of compliment. Definitely appreciate you. Because we all work together. We all inspire each other.
That's right.
It's
a team effort.
That's right. So people know you from many walks. You've worn many hats. Contributing to our city. And you can touch on whatever you want to touch on because there's so much going on, right? But
I'm here for another reason.
But you are here
if
for
you need anything else, just pick up the phone and call me.
That's right. But you are here for a very particular reason, because you are a representative of the esteemed Charlottesville Links Incorporated.
Yes.
And so you all also have big things going on right now, and fundraisers coming up, and things for the community constantly going on. So let's actually start it off, though, by those who may be unfamiliar with Charlottesville Links and what the purpose of it is.
Okay. Well, the Links Incorporated is an international organization. It's a service organization of African American women. And we are in the continental United States, the United Kingdom, and in the Virgin Islands. And our purpose is to do service within the African American community. And we do that through what we call facets. Mm-hmm. And we have 5 facets: the arts, services to youth, international trends and services, and national trends and services. And last, but probably very important, health and human services. So all of those 5 things intersect in our community.
Right.
So bringing knowledge to the community about those various facets, how you can learn more about them, how you can become involved in them, services that we provide for those areas. One of our big things is our annual walkathon, which is always held in September. And people come out and we walk for what? We walk for health. Because believe it or not, walking is a very good form of exercise. And if people would just get out and do it 20 or 30 minutes a day, they would see how important it is. One of the things that we are concerned about are our youth. So Services to Youth does various things in the community. We have had what we call the Burley Girl Project. We've had the Buford Girls Project, both of whom are groups of young ladies in middle school that we worked with, we mentored, we tutored, we took them places. So those are the types of things that, we've given to the Children's Dental Clinic. We've also given to the Charlottesville Free Clinic for people that need services. We have donated to the Girls and Boys Club. We've done things and partnered with the City of Promise. So any way that we can give back is what we want to do.
That sounds awesome.
We love it.
That sounds like a lot.
It is a lot. And to be in Charlottesville, we have over 17,000 members nationally. But as a service organization, women are invited to join. It's not like sororities and fraternities where you pledge. And
that kind of leads in.
So this year in 2023, Our chapter is 25 years young. So to think that you have an organization of African American women that have provided service to Charlottesville and Central Virginia for 25 years is simply amazing.
That
And
is.
I'm excited to say I am one of the founding members.
Now, let me ask you this, though, because when I hear all those great works that's going on, and you mentioned, Soros, and I know that the Links is one of those great organizations I always appreciate because it brings in folks, who already have the sisterhoods and the brotherhoods, and you kind of come under one umbrella, which we need a lot more of. But what sets it apart, though? Like let's say, I see AKA on your phone there. Like, so what sets it apart for you to already be an AKA, right?
Yeah.
But then somebody brings the Links, and you say, well, I'm already doing, A, B, and C through AKA. So what flavor does the Links add to the pot?
The flavor that the Links adds to the pot is that we are based in service and friendship. When the organization was started 75 years ago, our founders made a decision that there were particular things that we needed to do to give back because we have had an opportunity to be in a position of giving back to all people. Links do not necessarily have to be college graduates or have attended college, which makes it extra special because there are people in the organization that are retired administrators, educators, people that are entrepreneurs, and that could be in any field, people that are tech people such as yourself, who now during the pandemic work from home, and all walks of life. So when you're looking at the African American female population nationally, we are a small number. And the decision was made that all women should be able to be invited to be a part. And so that's what makes it special. It's invitation only, and it is based on service. And through that service, we develop friendships.
Gotcha. I think Miss Max has something for you.
Oh my gosh, how are you?
Fix that for you.
Look at you. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm
Thank you for being here.
I'm back from Atlanta.
Welcome.
I'm back. I'm back.
Glad to have you here, in my humble opinion. So thank you again for being here. And I'm glad you actually described to the listening audience what the Links is kind of founded on. Because through the years, I have heard individual, just general conversation about whether we're talking about sorority, fraternity, the Links, different things like this, and where they may be referred to as kind of like a secret society, or people question maybe what they're founded on and what its connections it has with certain things, whether or not it's biblical or not. Different things like that. And so I want to thank you for taking the opportunity to describe to us what type of organization this is. And so if someone is interested in joining, well, it's invitation only. So are you guys just kind of keeping an eye out on individuals who look like they may be good candidates for the organization, or how does that work then?
We keep our eye out on people that we feel would be good candidates, people that have made contributions to the community, but more importantly, people that are willing to WORK, because we are a service community, a service organization, and one of our main thrusts is service, and we are all required to do a certain amount of service every year. And so our program year is from September to April. Our fiscal year is from May through April. But during the program year, a minimum requirement of 48 hours of service is mandatory. And if you do not do your service, then that's not a good thing. And so when you're looking at a national organization that's writing grants and getting monies from foundations, they want to know not only are your members financial and not only are your members giving financially, but that your members are doing what you say you do. You're founded on service. Are we doing service? So millions of service hours are reported every year from our 17,000 members.
And Ms. Puryear, we have Razor online with you as well, and he said he has a question for you.
All right, I'm ready.
How you doing? Thank you for being here, first off. My question would be, how do a group of guys like Charles and I, I'm sorry, how do a group of guys like Charles and I support the links in a way that doesn't go against like men really not being part of it without it being just financial?
Well, when we host various workshops and panels, you can be invited to do that. You can go to our website and look at the various events that we do and say that you would like to participate in those events and what role could you play. When we are talking about health and human services and we do workshops around health, there's no problem in us ever doing a workshop about men's health. If we did workshops around mental health, having men and women participate in those types of workshops, any of the spouses or significant others of our members are male, and they do things individually, and when they host and do things, you all would be invited to those activities as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're more than welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing good. You know what I'm saying? Glad to be back in the studio, so to speak, with Charles and Max. So, yeah.
Yes, indeed. So Ms. Puryear, you know, before we wind down, they'll want to make sure that you pitch the needs, how the community can participate, you know, even before, you know, they even consider membership. Because I know you all are going to close the year with a bang and open the new year with even bigger bang. So tell us what you guys are up to.
So we are up to hosting our New Year's Eve gala, which will happen on New Year's Eve.
A party?
A party, girl.
Party.
No, a party. And so all of that information is on our new and improved and updated website. And I think you all may know one of the people instrumental in doing that. And her name is Kimberly Hayes. So I'm giving a shout out to Kimberly. And our website is Charlottesvillelinks, all one word, .org. Again, Charlottesvillelinks.org. And everything that you need to know about any events, any past events, anything you need to know about us is on our website.
Good stuff. And you know, and in closing too, like that's how they find out. But if you had to, you know, I like to pitch the importance of, you know, end of the year, the holiday season, and you know, going into the new year, you know, like why it's so important that we in general, you know, support each other in the community. And I'm asking that question from a broad aspect, and I would love for you to have closing word on that, because, you know, people may know you from city council, may know you from school board and all that. So, you know, so you are community minded, you know, so I just want you to touch on, you know, as folks are getting all these different offers, right? Donate to this, donate to that. So end of year fundraising is this and that. We need volunteers here. Like, what has kept you going within your activism? You know, what is so important about us contributing and helping out?
To me, Charles, what is so important is to whom much is given, much is expected. And all of us in this room have been given a lot. Whether you worked for it, whether you had opportunities for it to just fall in your lap, but there are people in this community that have not had the opportunities that we have had. And I was raised by my parents that I am no better than anyone else, and that I must help someone else along the way. I was helped, and you were helped. And consequently, because of that, we have all given back. And when you are making decisions about what to do, look at the organizations that you have been asked to give to. Are these things that you believe in your heart? Are these things that you know are giving our community an opportunity? So whether you give back through mentorship, whether you give back through volunteering for an organization, whether you give back by giving money, I think that we as a community need to begin to think about our give backs and how are our give backs impacting others? What is the footprint that we are leaving? Because none of us in this room can continue to do what we're doing for the rest of our lives. But we want to make sure that we have empowered young people to pick up the gauntlet and do what needs to be done, because there's always something to do.
The best leaders create leaders, right? Not followers.
That's what we do. That's what we do. That's what we do.
Thank you always for your wisdom as per year. And one more time, make sure they know how to reach you and the links.
CharlottesvilleLinks.org. And you spell Charlottesville out, LINKS.org.
All right. Thank you, and much continued success and blessings in all that you do.
I'm wishing you and your entire staff a happy and healthy Carb Day, which is known as Turkey Day, because all of our favorite things at Thanksgiving are carbs, and more carbs. So everybody walk from now until Thursday, and then get up Friday and walk some more, because we will have just carved down.
You cooking?
Yes, I
That's on the
am.
menu.
Oh, are you excited? Okay, so we're gonna have macaroni and cheese, cranberry sauce, candied yams, stuffing and gravy.
These like special recipes.
Turkey and ham.
Yeah.
Hot rolls. Sweet potato pie, because I don't want to lose my black card. That's right, I said it. Apple pie, corn pudding, and cheese.
Lord have mercy.
Greens and greens
Like have an
and
extra dinner
greens
guest.
and greens. Yay!
And then the next morning, the links are gonna be walking it off.
Yes, we're gonna be walking fast. We're gonna be walking. Now, we may not be walking fast, but we're gonna be walking. Yes, we will. Yep. I'm excited because my son is coming home and we're having people over, and I'm just excited to have him home and cook. First thing he said, "Mom," I said, "Yes, we're having macaroni and cheese and we're having greens. They'll be there."
Thanksgiving is one of those holidays that you don't want people to experiment with the food. Just give me the good old fashioned.
That's it. That's it. That the tried and true things are what you want to do. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed.
We live in a society in which structural racism is a very real thing. We are all dealing with that in every aspect of our lives, and the media is a reflection of our community.
Historically, black people have been portrayed a certain way in the media to justify normative assumptions around political and social issues.
More black people behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, more producers, more people of color producing, so they can go and get the content that's needed so they can highlight our attributes.
I've been in this industry for 15 years, and I've seen firsthand how our voices just aren't heard. Even if you're in the newsroom, sometimes you get completely ignored and stereotypes are allowed to perpetuate. And one thing we want to do is combat that, and also bring information to people so they can be as informed as possible when choices are made in this city, so they can do whatever they can to get their voices heard.
What I believe can be done about the situation is to have more people of color creating news stories, more people who have a interest in and a social consciousness that relates to the stories that they're telling.
Charlottesville Tomorrow looks at these issues. We can present them on IMHO. Vinegar Hill Magazine can take that a step further, and just together we can just make this thing that can be an example of how we can change the media landscape, how we can be more inclusive to get these voices in, to get these people heard. That's just one thing that doesn't happen in so many places, and it's a shame.
We think we live in a society that's very progressive, and we're talking about equity and diversity and inclusion and all these things. Still, the way that black people, and I would say, and I would argue especially black men, are portrayed by the media is incredibly dangerous, and you've seen the sort of tangible violence that it's led to over the past year.
The community can support the SIM project by first and foremost giving us an opportunity. We understand that it can be difficult to give trust right now, especially considering the current social and political environment. But this project will only be as successful as the community allows it to be. And so we ask you to give us the opportunity to do the work, critique the work, and make sure that we stay in line with the vision. Another way that the community can get behind the SIM project is through engagement. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you're talking about. We want to put your stories out there. And so whether it's reading the articles written by Charlottesville Tomorrow or Vinegar Hill Magazine, or tuning in to In My Humble Opinion on Sundays on 101.3 Jams from noon to 3 p.m., either way, we want you engaged. We want you to be part of this. The community can also support the SIM project through funding. To learn more about how to support SIM, you can visit our website. Thank you for your support.
We live in a society in which structural racism is a very real thing. We are all dealing with that in every aspect of our lives, and the media is a reflection of our community.
Historically, black people have been portrayed a certain way in the media to justify normative assumptions around political and social issues.
More black people behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, more producers, more people of color producing, so they can go and get the content that's needed so they can highlight our attributes.
I've
Yeah. I to the ism, H to the is O, and you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor, in the booth in the building with none other than Mr. Ty Cooper. And as always, he's up to big things popping, and so had to bring him in to let us know, what he has going on before the year closes out and what's leading into the next year, because it's big, y'all. It's big, especially as he said before, providing that not only the entertainment through indie films, but also being a resource for the educational piece to inspire prospective filmmakers. And so Ty, thanks for joining us once again.
Yo, thanks for having me.
Yes, indeed. So let the folks know. Are you not getting it?
No, which one is not
this one right here? Yeah, but we good enough for now. So let the folks know what you got coming up. This particularly 2024, this Indie Short Film Festival. Give us the lowdown.
Yeah. I'm real excited about it. It's gonna take a lot of resources, but I'm so excited about it, man. It's the Indie Short Film Festival. So in 2019, I started the Indie Short Film Series, which is like a almost monthly event where I screen 7 to 9 short films, international films, and I have filmmakers come from California, Pittsburgh. You even interviewed someone, Annette Banks, who was part of that. She actually won an Emmy for that film I screened. She won an Emmy about 2 months after I screened it.
Oh, right.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But long story
so you taking credit for this? Is
absolutely.
That what you just said?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I was just being clear. All right.
Yeah. She even said that I have an eye. So if she said it, I know it's true. So anyway, I have an Audience Choice Award and things of that nature. So now it's been so successful since 2019 that I decided to convert that single event into a 3-day film festival. March 22nd to the 24th.
March 22nd to 24th. So what can the folks expect? Like, what's different about this? Because I know you added your own flavor to it. So when people think about the Indie Short Film Festival being in Charlottesville of all places, what can they expect?
Well, I have a lot going on. So the Indie Short Film Festival is a 3-day festival. It starts on Friday, where we have film screenings at Valley Crown. And then that evening we have the launch party with live bands at the Common House. And then Saturday morning you wake up early, and you go to the back to the Valley Crown for films. And then simultaneously we have panel discussions happening at the Common House. And then in the afternoon to the evening we have films at the Vinegar Hill Theater, which is on Market Street. And then Sunday morning, we have a table read, because within the film festival, we have a screenwriting competition as well, because quite often screenwriters, those people who write scripts, write the movies, when they go to film festivals, sometimes they feel like they're not really represented, that even though they may have a screening or a screenplay competition, you don't see them. You just watching movies, you seeing the filmmakers, you don't know who was part of that screenplay competition. So we have table reads. So we have a table read for the top 3 screenplay writers, screenwriters, and that takes place at the Vault that morning. And then after that, we have the Sunday Brunch Awards, where we have brunch and we announce the winners of the films and everything else. And then we go back to Vinegar Hill Theater to close out Sunday with film screenings there.
Yeah. Let me find out you're trying to become competition for the Virginia Film Festival.
Oh, not at all. They're my client.
Matt's trying to create some smoke.
No smoke here. No smoke here. I consider myself as the baby cousin.
Like, but you a board member too, though.
Well, I'm not a board member, but they're my client. I'm the outreach and promotion consultant for the Virginia Film Festival since Spike Lee came. So that was my first year I started with them. And so it's not competition. That's why I do it in March. So I was in March, and then the Virginia Film Festival is in typically October, November. And we do nothing but short films. So and it's not a lot of short films at the Virginia Film Festival. So that's my.
I got a question for baby cousin. That's what he like to call himself. So why the name Indie? I've always wondered that. Where did you come up with that?
because it's independent. Indie is short for independent, so it's only
Oh.
film. So for instance, our festival, the Virginia Film Festival, will screen many different big films, right? But those are not independent films. They have some independent films of people who submit, but a lot of those ones that we talk about, like Ava DuVernay's film and Cord Jefferson's film and others, those are not independent. Those are major films. Even if Ava doesn't have distribution or a buyer at the time because she's working the film festival circuit, it's still major big money productions. This is indie where you may only have $10 to shoot a film, or you may have 50,000 or 100,000. It's still indie.
You know what I would like to see, because I saw you there. The Commonwealth short film series that they did at the film festival. Though, if you get some of them folks there, those were some good pieces too. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah,
that part of it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really truly enjoyed it, but because it shows that you don't have to have an extremely polished piece to have a story and to be able to tell a story. You could tell a story with a shoestring budget. It doesn't have to be this overproduced type of thing. Express yourself. Take out your cell phone, shoot the movie. For me, it's really about the story for the most part. How you tell the story, what's in that story, how relatable it is. Because every good story is relatable. It doesn't mean that every relatable story is a good story, but every good story is relatable.
So I'm assuming those are some of the. Are you vetting the films? Are you taking any and everything that comes along?
Oh no. You so filmmakers have to submit to the festival, right? Okay. So it's definitely not. I already have submissions that has no chance in getting in.
Okay.
So it happens.
So talk to us about the vetting
That's
process.
a shame.
So you already submitted your indie short film.
No, I have something. I have some pieces that I'm considering, but there's a couple that I've received already that's not going to get in. So what happens is this: Film Freeway is a major portal of where all film festivals are located, and all filmmakers have an account, and then you submit through Film Freeway to the film festival that you want to. Okay. Right. So I'm up there. Indie Short Film Festival is up there. Indie Short Film Series is still up there as well. So then what you do, you go to my site, you go to Indie, that's INDIE, that's indieshortfilmfestival.com. You go to that website and you'll see it says submit. You click submit, that will take you to Film Freeway, they'll take you to my page, and then you submit up there. You have the deadlines and how much it costs to submit and stuff like that. And I have a panel of associate programmers, right? So what I do when we get all the films, we got all kind of films. We got international, we have documentary, we have narratives, and things of that nature. So I disperse them to the associate programmers who I've hired. Okay. And then they look at it, right? And then they have a criterion sheet, right? So they check the boxes on, this and that, cinematography, the story, the acting, blah, 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 the script. And then in February, we will all get together. And then those people would present the handful of films that they feel as though should be in each one of those genres. And they got to pitch it. Right, so they had to pitch to this board or this committee why they like this film, why they like that film, why should it be in, why should it be in, and then everybody will go back and forth and try to figure out. Okay, so we use a process of elimination based on the criterion. Okay, but
you can finish your thought.
So if I have 100 short films that's going to be screened, and we get 400 submissions, and then what comes to the table is 150. Well, we're gonna have to scale it down to by another 50, and so that's what we have to do. And all of us are filmmakers within that. Okay. And I do want to get someone on the committee who is not a filmmaker, just so that we can have that. Because when I'm looking at any movie, if I go to the movies right now, I'm looking at the corner to corner. And what does this cinematographer have in the frame, and why he or she has that in the frame? So I'm looking at things so like more technically, opposed to just sitting back and enjoying the film. Okay,
it sounds like me. Like when I'm always looking at like sound engineers and video engineers, I'm like, oh man, I should go help them. You know?
I like that. I like that, Charles. I like that.
No, but so I'm curious about like what about like our talent pool that we have here, folks, maybe businesses that want to sponsor, or I heard you mention bands. Is all that lined up, or people can still submit to be a part of this?
I know who I want, so
okay,
it's not really open. I haven't signed the contract with the bands yet, but I know the two bands I want. Well, one band and then another one is a cellist, a black cellist out of I saw him in Richmond, the Richmond International Film Festival, because I had a film there that was screened there this past summer.
Okay.
And I saw him perform at the VIP party, and I was like, oh, I gotta have him. Like, having a black cellist who playing like Alicia Keys and playing like, right now, that's the kind of representation I like to show, with black people doing something different instead of just whatever, the drums or whatever the case may be, which is still great. But we don't see a lot of black cellists doing the thing. So so I'm trying to get him.
Think you can get 3 Stacks to come play his flute?
Nah.
No?
I don't think so. But hey, you know what? I'm open for anything, man. It's all about, for me, it's all about the representation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So as far as the other businesses, the folks that may be listening that may want to see how they can get involved, support, be represented, can they reach out?
Yeah. Go to Indie Short Film Festival. That's why I send to everyone, indieshortfilmfestival.com. And here's the thing, you'll be in great company. Because I have CACVB as a sponsor, Seville Weekly as a sponsor, CBS 19 News as a sponsor. Oh man, I hate listing things like that. Man, I don't have my paper with me. But it's so early that they don't. An announcement right now is not promised to them anyway. The marketing comes a little bit later, so. If I miss someone, I miss them. It's okay, I guess.
Yeah, man.
And also, I want to say, because you just had Leah up there, and I want to say, I want to give a big shout out. Charlottesville has not let me down. Charlottesville been supporting me like for a long time, and I wanted to say thank you to everyone who's supported the United Nation of Comedy at the Paramount, because I thought it was going to be a failure because Dave Matthews Band was in town, but I had more people this year than I had the past 2 years.
Nice.
And I was shocked because I don't check ticket sales in advance, so. I never check tickets. So I will be checking them for the film festival because I have to, because we can't overbook the theater. So, but usually I don't check ticket sales at all.
I'll let Razor get the last word so we gotta wrap up.
Okay. Yeah, I got a real quick question for him. Why don't we see more positive black films without them being documentaries or without being we have to build something on Wakanda?
Yeah, I don't think I think that's I think it's been like that for the history of Hollywood, but you have people like like you have different people who are putting stuff out. So you had Tim Reed, who he was the only black person who had his own studio in Petersburg and had national distribution himself. So I think that we do have stories that's told positively. I think we have to get out. See, I'm an indie guy. I'm big on indie, man, because I make money for my own films, right? Even on the independent level, because I'm a promoter. I rent movie theaters out. I screen them myself. I sell tickets and I make money, and I have sold out screening just for my film, Amanda. So I think that what it is, people need to be out there and take more control of their own project and their own distribution. So I don't blame Hollywood because but Hollywood is Hollywood. That was created for those people. But we have to say to ourselves, you know what? We're not going to go through the Hollywood channels. We're going to go and do a Dame Dash, or we're going to do something like that. So, we could always say it's racism. Racism is big in Hollywood. It's always been big in Hollywood. But do we succumb to that? Do we say to ourselves, you know what, man, Paramount they're not giving me the money to do this film, man. They're the gatekeepers. All right, cool. Like, that's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with having gatekeepers who don't like you. So do your own thing. And I'm just big on independent, man. That's why it's the Indie Short Film Festival, March 22nd to 24th, 2024.
Yeah, so I lied to you. Max gonna close it.
Yes. As you should. You don't have no man closing. You got a woman around.
My bad. I just had a question.
All right, for real, final question. It's like a Baptist preacher, right? Like, I'm about to end in a few minutes. It's almost over.
Y'all don't hear me.
The real final question. I was looking at a movie here recently, and someone made the statement that art is dangerous, and when it is no longer dangerous, then it's not art. Put that into perspective as far as filmmaking. What are your thoughts about that?
I would say that I like that that statement because it's really true. Depending on how your perspective and how you view it. The reason why art is dangerous because it could change minds. It could incite something, right? It can incite a movement, and that movement could be a movement against the norm on how the system is set up. So we have so many systemic things that's structured here in our country, particularly, and art could make people rise up and go against and press up against that because of the representation and what that art means to the creator. And when it comes down to films, I look at films as possibly being the same way because, for instance, Razor just stated about why isn't positive images on that screen, as far as at least in larger numbers, because we do have some positive images up there. Because what happens is this: if people still see the drug dealers, the pimps, the prostitutes, the exploitation stuff that we had during the Gordon Parks days, which he's one of my favorites, to be honest with you. But if we still had those images, what happens is this, and I was talking at an arts class at UVA a couple of years ago, and I was talking about the hate we give, right? So what it was is that in that classroom they had Asian people, Chinese people, and just many people. It was very diverse. So I told to this person, because we were talking about the media and the power of the media, and I told these young women back in the back. I said, hey, I said, where are you from? They said, China. I said, oh, okay. I said, growing up in China, do you have black people in your neighborhood? They said, no. I said, oh. I said, well, how about in your school? They said, no. I said, so you didn't grow up around any black people at all? Said, no. I said, so you telling me the first time I said, what's your classification? She said, freshman. I said, so you're a freshman. You haven't dealt with black people all your life until you came to UVA. Have we changed your mind about anything? And, the question, it wasn't like a real full statement they gave. It was more like a kind of, not brush off, but it was like, well, not really. I put them on the spot, kind of, sort of, right? I said, well, imagine this. If you seen a black person portrayed as a drug dealer and all these different things that I mentioned to you, you come to this university, you in a classroom with educated black people who probably got a higher SAT score than, your friends that's here in the States. Very smart, doing major things, or well, about to do major things. That would be different. You'll be shocked. And then you would think that that's an anomaly. So then you would say to yourself, like, well, not all black people that way, just the black people at UVA. I said, well, guess what? I'm an educated black man. I'm a single dad. I started my business when I was in my third year of college. I've been in business for, at that time, 29 years. So it's like, am I different than what is portrayed in media? And that's why the media is dangerous. I said, so it's very important for us as filmmakers and media representatives to understand how Hollywood has portrayed us, and for us to put things up there on that screen that's dangerous, right?
Yeah.
And I hate is bad. I tell my granddaughter never to use the word hate. I dislike.
It's all about content.
Yeah, but I tell her never use it. I dislike Medea and all those things, but I love Tyler Perry for putting out Why Did We Get Married? You seeing professional black people, right? You seeing a black person who's an entrepreneur who owns her salon. You seeing an author, teacher, professor. I forgot who the other people were. I think someone was an attorney, I think, in that group. But you see people on those in there that's representing that. Then you have, back in the days, we have Bill Cosby show. You have an attorney and you have a doctor, right? Who's raising a family in a brownstone in Brooklyn. I mean, it's just, those are the images that we need to put out there. Do we have black drug dealers? Do we have black whatever? Yes, we do. And I am a person who's against censorship. So I believe those images can be on the screen because
balance, right?
It's real life.
It needs to be balanced. You don't want to paint like one picture,
exactly.
one negative picture. Right?
Exactly. So I believe in balance, but we do. So when I write stage plays, I've written stage plays where I had a crooked pastor, but I had another pastor in that play. There's another pastor who's represented who did for the community, who sacrificed, who prayed over people, who give money, out of his own pocket. I had both of them in that same stage play because I knew I had to represent balance.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
When I wrote my film Amanda, which y'all interviewed me about, in the past, with that story, I had the black guy who was the love interest of Amanda. He was a photographer. He was a creative.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
The person who opened the door, he was down his luck. He got fired, but he was an educated Harvard attorney at one time. It's about putting those images on the stage that
Right.
represent the people,
Yes.
and it's all about arts and culture, and you connect them, and that's what we have.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it as always.
So yes, it's
The hard
dangerous. It
work.
can be dangerous.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Miss Max, he get you to take us a break.
Oh,
but,
yeah,
but
let's just
like,
go.
but I think
Hey,
folks
let's-
got the point. March 22nd through 24th, 2024.
And the website.
Yeah, Indie Short Film Festival. Go ahead and give them the website one more time.
Yeah, indieshortfilmfestival.com. You can go up there now and sign up. It costs no money to sign up. You go up there, you sign up so that you can be updated with information as we roll out. We have a lot of different things happening. It's going to be great.
All right, Miss Max.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, more discussion on IMHO.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Back like we never left. Sir Charles, Miss Max, I to the ism, H to the Izzo. And, Max, like we're going to make it do what it do. Like just as always, we as promised, jam-packed show with so much good information, as we kind of draw to the close of yet another year. So many folks stay doing great things in our community. And this is one young lady that I'm sure you heard about and been trying to get on the air. Wow, she been ducking and dodging me, Max, but we finally got her on here, and a Black Knight legend as well. Let's not forget that part.
What's that about? What's that title about?
Black Knight.
Black Knight legend.
A
Hey,
legend.
28-0 state champion.
Hey,
Okay.
talk
forget
that talk.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
None other than Her Sports founder and own Jessica Carter. Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yes, indeed. So as I said, folks would have to be purposely avoided if they have not heard of Her Sports and the great work that you're doing. So I'm kind of going to give it over to you because I don't want to mess the storyline up. Like bring the listeners up to date on like your history within athletics and what inspired you from the very beginning to see the need for Her Sports. How did it come to fruition?
I mean, I've been an athlete all my life from when I was young, playing, basketball, baseball. I'm from the country, from Fluvanna, actually. So playing with my family on the dirt courts, kickball, all that. So I'm always an athlete at heart. So after graduating college, I wanted to continue to give back in sports. So I started coaching, and working in the school system, I noticed a lot of kids, a lot of girls, they're not physically active. And so a lot of my parents, they encouraged me to do other things. And so I did coach AAU, which gave me a lot of insight on like building a great organization from Phil and Tabor. And so from there, it started growing. I wanted to put like health and wellness, character and leadership. Character and leadership development programs in there. And it just started happening. It just started was coming in fruition. And so from there, during COVID, I started doing small workshops, webinars, and just took off like that.
Yeah. That is awesome. Like, so who do you serve? So I know it's dedicated for the female athlete. But when it comes to the jurisdiction, and is it just basketball? Like what's some of the?
I got you. So it's just not basketball. So my primary purpose now is to inform the communities that it's just not basketball. Everybody knows me from the basketball athlete, just like you said, the legend from basketball. But we do a lot of partnerships with different organizations. We do basketball. Now we're starting a flag football league coming up next year. And we do lacrosse, field hockey. So we have different events that are related to all sports for from 7 to 17-year-old girls.
Okay. So what's the age range?
7 to 17, and it's just not Charlottesville. So
Yeah.
I serve Fluvanna, I've served Louise, I've served kids over the mountain. So it's just basically Central Virginia. But my seed is Charlottesville, so I'm just trying to work around it.
And you said all girl league.
All girl.
Okay.
Yes.
How important is that? So as being a female and creating this type of league and this space in your community and surrounding localities to kind of take advantage of, how important is that to you as a Black female to do that? Or do you even view it that way? I'm just doing what I love. I love basketball, I love sports. Like talk about that a little bit.
I just love sports. I'm the walking blueprint of sports. So just I'm not recreating a blueprint or anything. I'm just giving back from what I've learned. It taught me leadership. It taught me how to be a team player. It taught me about resiliency. It's, responsibility, structure. And so for me, I just want to pour back and be that walking example of what sports can do. And also it keeps me healthy. So with the health and wellness portion, that's something else that's important in our community right now.
Yes.
So I do really try to target our Black and brown communities because they are really the need, but I don't discriminate. All girls are welcome.
You get any no's along the way?
Huh?
You can't, or you shouldn't, or That's too much.
No, I get that's too much because a lot of people I've noticed I have a huge support system and they really care about my well-being.
Okay.
So they said, are you doing too much, Jessica? You need to sit down. You're doing too much. And so I know I'm doing a lot, but I'm just trying to create effective and quality, like high quality programs for these girls so it can continue on in the future. So I won't have to be that one doing all the work.
And so as a female athlete, and as an athlete or being just competitive by nature, a few years ago when my husband and I started our food truck, it was then a food cart, bumped into a lady while running the business, white female, who told me that as a female, I was not allowed to fail. I was not allowed to fail at what I was doing. And it wasn't a bad thing. It just let me know that she could relate to the struggle of a female stepping out and doing something potentially more than what society said she ought to be able to do. And the eyes, that were on us as females with what we do in the community and so on and so forth. And so how much does your competitiveness come into play when you talk about the things that you want to do and willing the fact that this is going to be successful?
I feel like right now it's me versus me. So I'm very competitive. And so that's why I can't sleep. It's like that's why it was so hard for us to connect because I'm always on the grind. But as a woman, this is a mission for a reason. We're second in nature. We're looked at as weak. We're looked at as, we can't do what a man can do. And right now you can see women's sports is thriving. Like in every sport is given that entertainment that they want. People are betting on these women. So when it comes to failure is not an option for me. And so I kind of resonate with what that comment was. Like, I'm not going to fail. So, and plus these kids are my motivation. And I do have failures. I do have setbacks, but I only learn from it. And so I'm not done until I get that championship. And it's far from right now.
And I know people have picked up on it by now that it's way deeper than sports. Like talk about some of the things that you've done in the community. You've done so many like community activities and events. Just some of your highlights that you think about when you think about really making an impression, because I'm sure that there's been some athletes that's come to you and that's been their whole thing. Like, I want to hoop, I want to ball, whatever it may be. But then you realize, man, it's like, this is like my little sister now. This is, what I mean? Like they really needed just that, like inspiration outside of the sport.
Yeah.
So I'm curious on how that's affected you and stuff that you've, accomplished so far.
See, it's crazy because a lot of people who are now understanding the Her Sports journey, they only see me as a sports entrepreneur, but I've been working in the community for a long time. I have a 15-year background in human services, from working in corrections all the way to the school. So I've always been in a community or helping certain targeted populations that are in need or underserved. And so especially with sports, I think it's more of, because I'm just straight and direct with them. Like I'm soft and gentle when it's needed, but I hold them accountable. I give them certain consequences that I'm allowed to do. And so they like that, they need that. And I still have connections with my kids that I've coached in the past. They contact me with their accomplishments. So I think nowadays kids see that and they want my opinion. I still have confidence, that self-esteem. I say that you can do it, you can overcome. I'm very transparent with them. If I'm struggling, I let them know, like I'm having a bad day. Just please give me, I'm having a bad day. So if I come off any type of different, I'm having a bad day. And I think that transparency and that authentic perception that they see of me, that's why I think I get a good response. And it's just not from the girls, it's from the boys too. I had a couple of boys say, okay, Jess, can you do this for me? Can you do it? Can you make a him sports? Can you
I like that.
Let me just focus on the girls.
Yeah. So what about some of those accomplishments that's really stood out to you, and then and the goals, you know what I mean? Because like I said, you've done some big things through Her Sports, but that, and then some things you haven't done yet, some of your top goals.
But before we move away from just the topic you just now commented on, I do want to ask, do you find yourself having to fill a different role, or a role that you kind of didn't know you would have to, stepping into this position, as far as what our young females need this day and age to, stay on the right track.
Absolutely. So like right now, I'm gonna be very transparent. Like I'm exhausted a little bit because I've been a parent, I've been that sister, I've been that aunt to a lot of these girls, and it does become, you know, exhausting because you want to do so much for these kids, and some of these parents are not stepping up as a parent, and they look to us coaches, community leaders, and interventionists to do that job, and sometimes it does get exhausting, you know, and I have the right to be exhausted, but I only have it for a little bit, you know, and then I have to get myself together. But I'm everything under the sun that you can think of, and that's okay because this is something that this is God's work, and so you know, when I feel like I'm stressed out, all I gotta do is be like, all right, God, you know, help me tighten up. But back onto you about, you know, my accomplishments. It's been a struggle to sit back and embrace everything because I'm on go. Like that's the athlete in me. It's like, all right, I've accomplished one thing. Let me continue and train for something else. But like last year's gala, like the turnout, it was amazing. The community support, just to see all the girls from different you know, sports categories to come in. The layout, that really showed me how much support I have, as well as these Her Sports Day events that I have from the communities coming out, the vendors. I think that, as well as my partnerships, I have over 55 partnerships within the past 3 years. And so I think relationships are key to a thriving small non-profit at the moment. So my goal is to be a nationally known Her Sports, like a nationally known organization, travel around the country just to get that mission out and collaborate with other organizations and like Nike, ESPNW. I'm trying to get under their, you know, advisory.
I see that.
So
I do. I see that.
The work is not done. Like I said, I'm only in the first quarter.
Right. Now you right. You deserve and you earn time to rest. Like you are entitled to that. But what help is needed, because it sounds like you could use volunteers like that's not even like sports related. You know what I mean? Like, because this sounds like such a holistic program to where, you know, whether it's the parents or whether it's community members coming in and stepping in, like how can folks learn more about how they can help besides just the funding?
Besides the funding, I just, you know, I need passionate individuals just like myself to help, and more of like administrative, someone to help, you know, the back, like with the logistics things. That way I can just focus on the programming. And also, you know, to be honest, we really need some great, some more board members to help balance the board members that we have out, to help build that stability, that foundation, to get it more well known throughout the communities and these networks. So it's just, it's just, and I'm always accepting volunteers. We have, especially with the Flag Football League, we need coaches, we need volunteers to help with the games. But I have more information coming out.
Yeah, for sure. So I gotta ask you this: when you go into to John Paul Jones Arena now for UVA women's basketball game, and for those who haven't gone yet, do yourself a favor, get it while the tickets are affordable, because Coach Mox and the ladies are on something big, right? Like big enough, as good as her career started here last year. But I wanted to ask you though, Coach Carter, like how much joy is in your heart when you see Mo and O out there?
So this is my first,
and Sarah too.
Yeah, this is my first game I'm going to, because every other time I'm busy doing something, but I'm always, the past 3 games, I'm on my phone, like looking at the stats. I'm engaged now, and I love what Coach Mox is doing, bringing, you know, our hometown girls, heroes, back to the UVA arena to see that, and just to see Mo and O on the court at the same time. When they was in high school, it was a lot of, you know, how people try to compete and try to use it. So it's just good to see them together, and as well as Sam and, you know, the other girls that I've been able to meet, and they've been volunteering for Her Sports. They have great personalities. So just to see that, and that the family oriented, that atmosphere that Coach Mox is building, it's gonna be something nice. We're gonna be ranked very soon.
Yeah. And Kimora needs to be ACC Player of the Month week, whatever they give her, because I mean, I don't know who in the ACC has been balling more consistently.
So I text, I remember a while ago when she was in high school, I used to just send her messages and said, McDonald's All-American, we shooting for that. She shot for that. And then, I manifested that for her, you know, but she did the work. Mo is a very sweet, and now I inboxed her and said, all right, Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame, like Hall of Fame. But no, Mo is a sweet kid. O is a sweet kid. Mo definitely needs some recognition. She's gonna carry. She's a point guard. So welcome to the game, Coach Mo.
Through and through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a pretty serious question for you. Want to get your thoughts on Draymond Green putting that player in chokehold. When I saw that, I just saw, player trying to break up a fight. That's all. Just trying to prevent an altercation.
Is that what you saw? But all right, anyway.
What are your thoughts as a basketball player?
So I'm gonna be honest. I don't watch the NBA.
Yeah.
I only watch clips. I stopped watching the NBA when I felt like it was a business. But you get the memes and stuff, and I'm like, they out there really playing football, so I can't really express how I feel because I just seen clips and stuff. But it's kind of getting a little aggressive out there.
So on a more serious note though, Angel Reese, your thoughts about the way she's changing the game of basketball, especially at the collegiate level. And I hear she was benched for a little bit last game. So
yeah, I just had this question from actually one of my parents / board members, but from what I see, I just think with all the hype that is around Angel Reese and LSU, I don't think these kids are getting the mental health support that they need.
Are they putting basketball first anymore?
I don't think so.
Me either.
I don't think so. But I think because they're still young and they're getting all this attention, they don't know how to manage it. They're getting this money. So I felt like LSU was not going to be the same team as last year because of all the hype, all the glam. They are on these TV shows. Angel Reese, yes, she's doing her thing, but she has to get back to basketball. They have a great team. They have to get back, or else they're going to struggle the entire season.
And that puts any coach in a predicament, right? To deny to truly be a coach and deny their players of whatever is not good for the game can be frowned upon by parents, the team themselves, and just other supporters. So that's a difficult balance.
It's a very difficult balance, but any of my players that know me or the parents, if my kids are not doing what the program calls, they will be benched. I don't care how good you are.
There you go.
You will be sitting on the bench. I've benched several of my great players at that time on the bench. If your grades ain't good, you will be benched. You're not gonna play. So that's something that I used to do in Buford. Like if they don't have a C or better grade, then you're not playing. So you'll see all these kids my kids running around to their teachers like, can you put this grade in? Can you put this grade in? Because I don't want to run or I want to play. So I think Kim, unsure of what's really going on, but I think Kim really needs to pull that team together and get it together, get their team back on one accord and put basketball first instead of all the hype.
And lastly, I think can't let you go without just your insight, real quick on AAU in general, because as beneficial as it can be, it also can be toxic, right? And so if you had your dream, your wish on how AAU organizations could work together, or like what they should represent in this area, if you had to have a stump speech about the state of AAU in this area, what would your couple comments be?
Real quick, what do you mean by toxic? Because I'm not real familiar with the AAU.
Yeah, so I'm just referring to how it can benefit and it can excel an amateur athlete. Okay. But then you have some selfish people in it as well who use kids or make false promises to kids. That's what I meant by toxic.
Yeah, they use kids as clout. They use kids. They try to recruit some of the well-known players in the area, and they use it as clout for money. They are using AAU now for a money game, but you still got great organizations out here like Frankie, you got Phil, you got Tabor. They're still out there. There are still great coaches out that you rarely see advertised or anything. But they have results. They show results, actual true results. So I think if we get back to that, instead of allowing just anybody to develop an organization and sell, but also the parents need to be educated. These parents are not educated. Some parents, just want their kid to do something, and they're putting their trust into the director of any of those organizations because they're selling it. They have what else could they say? Okay, that
Mhm.
sounds good. Okay, my kid wants to play, and some offer them scholarships or play for free because their kid is just that good. But that's just not the way it goes. These parents need to be educated, or whoever the guardian is. They need to be educated before they go to the organizations that have the most social media likes, or it's
So
just,
what should parents be mindful of when choosing a team?
first they need to do that research, and they need to actually connect with individuals who've been a part of that organization to see how their experiences is, and also talk to the coaches that are coaching that kid, so their coaches know good organizations that can fit. But also you got to understand, these kids, some kids pay to play, but that does not mean you're going to play. Right. So that's another false hope for these kids. Like, oh, I paid this amount of money, but I'm not getting any playing time. So it's and I've talked to some people about doing like a seminar, but sometimes, people don't show up to the seminars just to educate. But they really need to do that research. Shoot, they can ask me. I could tell them who to go to, who not to. I don't really like to do that, but it's just more of, it's really sad about when AU season come up. I'm like, oh, here we go. What new team is about to be developed? Because we have so many organizations in just central in Charlottesville alone that first you are breaking these kids up. And if you play them together, that's what happened when I was young. We played together from when I was 7 all the way up to about when I 17, I think. So we all played together, and we won a state championship, 28-0, because we know each other. We know the strength. So now when you get kids on the same team, some of them really don't want to play basketball or football or whatever, soccer, because you have travel soccer. It's off balance. It's not as interesting because some kids are not as dedicated as those who do invest their time on the off season.
I'm sorry, one more quick thing, because I heard you mention NBA turned you off because it got too business. But when we look at the female athlete and how underpaid they are, is there a balance there in your mind, or do you feel like that? I'm just curious your thoughts on, if female athletes, WNBA, what have you, could get paid more. Do you think that would degrade the game?
I'm unsure because I think to be honest, the overall barrier is marketing. So and it's also the area, like New York, you got Las Vegas Aces, even a soccer team, like their marketing team, the head of their organization really pours a lot of money back into the team to gain more fan and support. But I don't think, eventually it will, because that's just the nature of the beast. Women's sports is on the rise. Oh, let me put in some bets, let me gamble off of them. But yes, I feel like it, but I don't think it would degrade the game at all. As long as we have some old heads somewhere back there trying to ground these female athletes.
The wholeness approach, mental health, like you said. Well, Jessica, thank you for taking time out of your schedule. Hopefully this was beneficial to you as well. I know our listeners appreciate it. So let them know how to reach you. Jessica.Carter@hersports.info. You can follow me. Follow us on Instagram at her sports. So it's H.E.R_sports. And you can find me, just email me, call me. My name is on all the marketing materials. Just give me a call. If you want to help, please email me. All right. Good stuff. Well, enjoy the rest of your day and much continued success. Absolutely. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
IMHO Talk Show.
Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
H.O. Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
Sir Charles, Miss Max, IMHO Talk Show. Back like we never left, Miss Max. You're giving the people what they want. And one thing that the people have wanted is CIC. So I'm so glad that we have Tara Farley here, the Director of Communications and Engagement.
Yes, sir.
At CIC. So Tara, welcome. First time
Thank you.
in the studio with us. But you know, the work that you all do is so invaluable. And Max, you know, like before we even kick it at Tara though, like what's your take on CIC? Because I feel like, you know, you as a, you know, like as a business owner, right?
Very true. Very true.
It's been a benefit to your business too, right?
It
Am I
has.
mistaken?
I was just sharing with Tara during the right before the interview started, that I and my husband took the CIC class. Must be like 3 years since we completed the course, and it is a great avenue to, especially for a someone who wants to start a business but no prior experience. And don't really necessarily know where to begin, and trying to educate themselves kind of in all facets of what it means to operate and run a successful business without getting a 4-year degree. And so it was very beneficial to us, and we got to meet a lot of great people along the way. We attended a course with some, I don't know, 15, 20 other people who had aspirations of starting a business too. We took the course as a matter of kind of further educating ourselves. And we had already established at least one of our businesses at that time. But it was very informative. I will say that it's one of those things, as with any course, you get out what you put in.
Say so.
And so, yeah, if you do the work and are attentive and stick to the manual, then it's a great program.
And speaking of which, Razor must be on a CIC job, because when he connected, I heard all kinds of like industrial equipment. Now, it wasn't kids, it was industrial equipment. So Razor, we're here with Tara. Go ahead and give her flowers.
Sorry, Tara. I'm sorry.
Hello, Tara. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
Doing good. Tara has been very instrumental in the work that I was doing when I was with the Fountain Fund as well. But Max is being humble. We were the greatest CIC class ever in existence. Max, you got to tell it.
Put something on
Is Max being humble, or are you being a little braggadocious?
Hey, just take it how you want it, Sir Charles.
He is being himself.
There you go. Thank you, Tara.
Yeah, but honestly, anybody that really wants to grow their business, the information that you get, like we were fortunate enough to be with the Spill team, and they came in and explained different things with us, right? But the information that was gained from the other students inside of the classroom not only made me a better business person, but they added to my life, you know, because I got a chance to see how other people take the same circumstance and apply it in a different light, which is what you need to do in business. You can't do everything your own way because you don't pay yourself, so to speak. So you need to be able to be not a chameleon, but you got to be like water. You have to be able to be what a person needs at that given time. And CIC was instrumental in what I do now, even though the seeds that were planted may not have flourished for a year or so. Some things were instantaneous, and some things were a platform that was built to make me better. And I have nothing but great things to say about the program.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So Tara, hopefully you feel welcome
That was a nice little
and
setup.
supported right now. I
literally,
mean,
I don't have to
your
say
job is
anything.
easy then, right?
My
We sold
job
it
is
for
easy.
you.
I'm just sitting here listening. Like, yep, that too. Yep.
But while we have you, let the folks know, your position with CIC, and so they know how you contribute to this great work.
For sure. I am the director of communications and engagement. I joined the CIC team about 2.5 years ago. The first year I was fully remote, so I've only been in Charlottesville a little over a year and a half. But my background is in business management, marketing, communications, and I own my own business and branding development company as well. So that was kind of putting me in CIC, just kind of put all of my different hats that I had worked through over the years at the span of my career. It kind of put everything in one place. So I'm able to help push the vision, push the stories of the entrepreneurs, but also able to sit down with the entrepreneurs and talk through, okay, what's going on with your brand? What's going on with what you're trying to do, where you are versus where you're trying to go, and see how I can help them with that.
Okay.
Got you. Thank you. So what is so we heard the success stories. But so what has CIC been up to since then, and and is up to now that the folks should know about that are interested?
CIC has celebrated now 11 years. Last year was our big 10-year anniversary event, CIC 10.
Yeah, congrats.
So we celebrated 11 years. We actually just had the alumni reunion this past Thursday at the Vault on the downtown mall. So just an opportunity to bring the entrepreneurs back together. We've crossed over. We are vastly approaching now, I think, 4 million in loans that we've issued to small business owners. Last year, we crossed over 2.5 million. And since then, of course, we've been able to continue to put capital into the hands and the businesses that are in the Charlottesville area and surrounding counties. We have a mentoring program.
And surrounding counties.
Counties. And we are not limited to Charlottesville. So we have a Piedmont Loan Fund. Orange County has a loan fund with us. We have probably 8 to 10 different loan funds that we're able to access. And of course, there's an application process, but ultimately it helps when you have been connected to the organization. You've gone through our workshop, you have sat down with a business advisor with the Central Virginia Small Business Development Center, because then we can speak to your habits, your integrity. We can speak to where your weaknesses are, so that there may be more probability that we can offer the loan than you may not have when you go to a bank or a credit union. So it's great that we can offer microloans up to $50,000, but ultimately we're just continuing to do our best to support the entrepreneur holistically. Sometimes it means staying after the workshop and talking with them through their homework. Sometimes they come in the office and they just catch one of us and we sit down and talk through where they are in their business, where the hurdles are, what it is they're trying to do. But we like to say that we are changing the face of what an entrepreneur looks like, because we recognize that a lot of people hear small business and they hear entrepreneur and they think trust fund, or they think endowment, or they think, they came from this legacy of wealth, when that's not always the case. And it doesn't have to be. We're here to give you the tools, the resources, the community that you need so that you can be successful. Anybody can come up with an idea, but to Max's point, if you're able to sit and put the work in and pay attention and listen to your colleagues, get that customer discovery done, have those hard conversations up front, then you're able to take all of that and put it into the business that you want to see manifest in the area.
Okay. Now, is it competitive on the loan front? Because as I understand it, right, like it's a program that you go through to qualify you to receive the loan, right?
No, you don't have to go through our program to qualify to get the loan. You just will have a lower interest rate typically by 1 point if you come through CIC's Entrepreneur Workshop, or if you have been a longtime client of the Central Virginia Small Business Development Center, or another support organization that supports entrepreneurs. So it's not that you have to come through. It helps you as far as the interest. But the application process It's pretty standard. You're going to have to show your business plan. You're going to have to show your cash flow statements, your profit and loss statements, your break-even analysis, those things that show the health of your business, but also show the trajectory of your business. And sometimes you don't have those. So we have a startup and growth loan now that you may not have a cash flow statement because the business is just jumping off, but you should be able to give us some market validation. You should be able to give us some research, some customer discovery that shows this is a viable idea, that you've put some time and effort and energy into it. And of course, if you don't have the profit from the business standpoint, then we will have to look at your personal bank statements and things of that nature. But it's nothing that should intimidate you. It's nothing that should overwhelm you. If you let us know what you're trying to do and you're honest and you're forthright, then our loan officer, our director of lending and operations, Carolina, she's amazing. She's going to just sit down and talk with you and figure out, okay, before you apply, let's talk through the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent, so that when you actually apply and it goes forward to the committee for approval, you're in a better position to be able to get that. So it's competitive from the standpoint of you can be in your own way. It's competitive from the standpoint of if you're not willing to put the time and effort and energy into it, then you can basically box yourself out. But it's not competitive from the standpoint of if you're not our client, then we don't want to work with you. That's not the case.
Yeah, and if you don't put that work in, you're gonna just go to a bank that cares nothing about you and pay more interest.
You're gonna pay more interest. They won't care, but they also won't support you through the journey. So we have a financial management program, and that program pairs you with a financial coach that's literally looking at your business financials, looking at your personal financials, because the other big piece of being an entrepreneur is understanding that what happens to you happens to the business in some way, shape, or form. Is going to have an impact. So if you are struggling personally and this business is supposed to be your lifeline, then we need to focus on what's causing the struggle on the personal level, and then get you acclimated to different habits and get you recording things better. Sometimes you have the money, but you're not tracking properly. So you don't recognize where your money is going. So that's why you're coming up short. So just those different conversations through our financial management program, sitting down with our director of lending, having those conversations can prepare you to do what it is you're trying to do.
Can I just say that you have just painted the perfect picture of what CIC is and the services that it offers.
Wow.
I mean, talk about an elevator pitch.
I kind of see why she's director of communications.
Hey, Charles.
What's up?
Hey, let me hit her with something here real quick then. All right. One of the things I hear when people ask me about CIC is the trust factor. They hear everything that she just said, and it's a wonderful thing. But when it comes to people feeling like CIC or any business entity is going to be in their business, and they have things that they really don't want to expose yet, they'll ask people that have graduated through the program questions that might not make it to Carolina. Is it Carolina? Yeah, that might not make it to her to even ask. What would you say to the people that they have an idea, they want to get started in business, but they're vulnerable when it comes to exposing their things that they like to do that are really holding themselves up?
He ain't talking about nobody but me.
I am not.
You talking about nobody but me.
I think
that's why Charles had the volume down low on my head. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're perfectly fine. I think it's a great point and a great question, because particularly in the brown and Black communities, it's very easy to feel embarrassed about what your situation is. You don't come from legacy. You may not come from wealth. You don't have this savings account that's going to be able to float you through whatever the process is. But at the end of the day, you have to make a decision. Are you willing to be vulnerable enough to get the help you need? You don't know what you don't know. but you can talk to someone who does know what you don't know, who can help teach you what you don't know and help you overcome what you didn't know. So what I would say to that person who is saying, oh, I don't want to put myself out there, I don't want to be embarrassed. Everybody's embarrassed about something on some level. You have to make a decision. What's more important? Your legacy, you building generational wealth, you bringing this vision to reality, or holding on to your personal privacy. The question is, which one do you value more? And you have to make that decision. I can't tell you, Carolina can't tell you, no one at the team can say it's more important that you be private and that you keep all of your information to yourself. What I can say is that the people who have taken the chance on themselves, who have felt that they were worthy enough of the opportunity, they were vulnerable enough to say, here's where I am. I can tell you that they had a different outcome.
But for the person who's intimidated about being vulnerable to put that dream out there,
you have to trust somebody, and we're just hoping that you will allow us to be that somebody.
Okay.
Because ultimately, when you're building a business, most businesses are only as successful as the community that's supporting them. And so we try to bring you into this community, not just from the team member standpoint, but to Troy's point, when you're in the workshop, you're dealing with other people who are dealing with something very similar. Your mother may not understand your struggles as a business owner. Your sister, your cousin, your best friend, they may not understand the questions you're asking yourself and where that doubt lies. But when you have someone who's either walked the path and had to overcome those things, and those are the people you're talking to, or when you have someone who's sitting right beside you and saying, you know what, I'm dealing with the same thing. Here's how I am dealing with it. Or have you tried this? Sometimes that safe space, that community, that vulnerability is the thing that gets you where you're trying to go. So when it comes to, can you trust us? Of course, I'm going to say absolutely, because I love the people that we work with, but I love the people that we work for. And the people that we work for are the people in the community who didn't have, you know, the 5-year MBA program, or they didn't go through the cohort at Harvard and Stanford and UVA, but they have an idea and it's a good idea. They just need understanding. I would say just bet on yourself.
Right.
If you don't want to trust us, trust yourself enough to say, if I get in the right environment, I can thrive. If I get in the right environment, I can build. If I get in the right environment, I can grow. And so all we're saying is, no, you don't know us, but come get to know us. Come sit down with us in the office. You don't have to be a client to have a conversation. You don't have to be a client to be able to ask questions. We have people who walk in, because the way the office is set up, CIC is on one side of the hall. And then if you go straight down the hall, the other suite is the Small Business Development Center, the Central Virginia Small Business Development Center. So between those two doors, you have 15 people who are ready to talk to you about your business. And if they don't know, they tell you. If we don't have the answer, on the CIC side, we will walk you down to the SBDC. If the SBDC thinks that there is something that you can gain from the CIC side, then they're going to walk you down to us. But it's never a cold environment. It's always, how can we serve you? How can we help you? How can we help you build? So I would say, if you're thinking about it, if you have questions about it, come talk to us. But also talk to some of our graduates. You know, Matt,
even Razor?
Even
Razor? Preach out.
So the application time is open now,
Absolutely.
right? So so tell us about that process, and if there's anything else going on currently that we should know about.
Sure thing. Applications are open for the 16-week entrepreneur workshop that starts in the spring. Classes will begin in February. Applications are open through January 5th. And so anytime between now and January 5th, you can apply on our website, cicville.org. We have a cohort that's taking place in Charlottesville, and then we have a cohort that will be in Culpeper Orange. And so depending on where you live, whichever one convenient, you can apply for that one. And it is in person. It is 16 weeks. It is 6 to 9 p.m. every Tuesday, like clockwork. It's 1 day a week. There's homework. There are things that you have to do to actually, apply the information that you've learned. But again, applications are open through January 5th and classes will begin in February. All the information is on our website. We also have the resource fair that's coming up on November 29th. We still have some slots available for that.
Big.
And that is basically a time, again, for you to come in and sit and ask your questions. So it could be accounting, it could be web design, it could be SWAM certification, marketing, communication, social media. All of the categories are listed on the websites.
All these services free?
All of these services are free. The entrepreneur workshop is $750 for the 16 weeks, but scholarships are available. So as long as you acknowledge that you are interested in a scholarship, when we have the conversations, we meet with every single person who applies to the workshop before we decide who's going to be admitted for each semester. So there is a price tag to the workshop, but there is not a price tag for the resource fair. Is completely free. You do not have to be an existing CIC or SBDC client to participate, but that is from 12 to 4 on November 29th. And then Giving Tuesday is in a week or so, probably I think about 10 days from now.
Yeah.
And that's just a time where we encourage everyone in the community to give back to a nonprofit. And of course, CIC is a nonprofit, and we call it an opportunity to invest in local businesses, because this year we actually have donors who are matching. So you get to double your impact. If you give us $10, it's actually going to be $20. If you give us $50, it's $100. But it's a great opportunity to give into something and be a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
even
Tara.
yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I
You're
didn't want you
totally
to
fine.
miss. I didn't want you to miss this part that I know about CIC. We're talking about all the new entrepreneurs, but for the ones who have went through the classes, that you've reached your plateau of what you can do. Are they able to come back and sign up for classes as well?
The ones who have been through the workshop, as long as you contact Juana, our programs director, or Christine, she is our programs coordinator, is Juana. Christine is the workshop coordinator for the Culpeper Orange cohort. As long as you let them know that you are a previous graduate and you just want to come in, say, to sit in on the break-even class or to sit in on the cash flow class, they will absolutely welcome you back. The only reason we ask that you let us know in advance is because it is a place for those entrepreneurs to develop. And we don't ever want it to be an overwhelming experience for them where they can't learn because we have 20 visitors sitting in the back. So as long as you let them know, then we will absolutely welcome you with open arms.
Good stuff. Now, how do people reach out to you for more info and and all the CIC has to offer, all the good things?
All the things.
How they follow up?
The website is cicville.org. My email address is my name, so TEIRA@cicville.org. And you can always email info@cicville.org. We are at CICville across social media platforms. So if you just want to hear some of the entrepreneur stories or check out some of the testimonials, you can go to CICville on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
Okay. Good stuff. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So you haven't been here, but you've been on radio before.
I have been on radio.
Okay, all right. I can tell. I'm about to say, you sharp, Tara.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I try to represent CIC well.
You did, and yourself.
Thank you.
Yes,
And
indeed.
I'll actually let Tara have the final word. She said something a few minutes ago that stuck with me, and she said, "Bet on yourself."
Absolutely. Bet on yourself. Believe that you're worthy of the investment, the time, the energy to be able to collaborate with other people, other like-minded individuals. We want to see you win. We want to see you succeed. We want to see your business help the community, because ultimately when you build a business, it's not just about you, but it's about your family, your legacy, and the people you're serving. So we say, give us an opportunity to be a part of your journey, whatever it is that you're trying to do. Some people go through CIC and realize, you know what? I don't want to be an entrepreneur. And we don't consider that a failure. We consider that a mature response to a process and a journey. So ultimately, we're here to support you wherever you are in that journey. We have entrepreneurs who are just getting started. And sometimes we have entrepreneurs who have been in business for a few years and they're trying to pivot, or they're trying to do something else, and they take the class. So that's the other beauty, is you're able to deal with, interact with, and collaborate people at different spaces within their journey and learn from them. So I thank you guys for having me today, and definitely welcome the opportunity to help any of our entrepreneurs in, like I said, in Charlottesville and surrounding areas.
Thank you.
And please keep us posted of everything you have going on so we can share.
Absolutely, will do. Thank you guys.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
I to the Ism, H to the Izzo Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor, Charlottesville's #1 for R&B, hip hop, and classic. That's 101 Jams. And take got to take a breath for this one, Max, because we take Seville to the world and bring the world to Seville, and definitely much needed right now. And we are just delighted, as promised, to have none other than Vice Chair Don Morse of the Charlottesville City School Board. So important because so many thoughts, misconceptions, rumors, sort of run amok about things that go on. But one thing that they should know about us by now, Razor and Max, is that we, just like people want us, to be a voice on air, a positive voice, a refreshing voice, an educated but entertaining voice. That means that there's accountability. That means we're going to call each other to task when need be. And as has been said so much here recently over the past few days, and really over, the whole school year, there's accountability on every side. We are a village. We are a community. So all that being said, we Dom, thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you
for having me.
Yeah, yes. Thank you for accepting this invitation. And I gotta shout you out and folks like Sam Saunders and other folks like that, because it's so refreshing to have city representatives that's not afraid of his own people. Because too many times people are they're scared to go in the communities, and I see you at all these meetings and everything, you're active. Because people want that transparency and know that you're being real with you. So I definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. It's part of it. As a leader, as a servant to the community, you got to make sure you're showing up, even if it's just to listen.
Yes, indeed. So, man, so first bring us up to speed. Maybe we'll get into some older matters, but it all links together. So Charlottesville High School was in the news this past week,
right?
So please, set the record straight on us, for us, in regards to what happened on Thursday that led to the staff shortage that has closed school from then to now.
Yeah. So Thursday afternoon, we had two fights that took place. One of them involved an adult from outside of the school population. And so part of that, increases, I guess you can say, anxiety. People are feeling a little bit scared in terms of security. And then just the overall tension that comes with a fight and anger and all those things. So that's what took place on Thursday. Friday, we've already had as a school district, and this is.
Can we dispel something real quick, or just kind of set the record straight? So I read something that said that there was one adult in the high school that was involved in a fight, but other comments that said there were more than one adult at the high school.
Yeah, everything that I have so far officially, and the administrators have looked at the video. It's only been one adult.
Okay.
It's still a little bit undetermined how involved in the fight they were, just because of the amount of people around.
Okay.
But to my knowledge, just one adult.
Okay, got it. Sorry to interrupt.
No, thank you. And we've been in contact with the chief of police and going through those matters to ensure that that's not a thing that we do at our schools, and the community should be aware of that as well.
Okay.
All right. So get into the response that then took place. Sort of the steps taken for the high school, once that occurred.
Yeah. So, part of that is leading into Friday. Charlottesville City Schools, as well as other districts around the country, have had a shortage of staff in regards to teaching staff, but as well as substitutes, right? So with already a substitute shortage, and then having more staff members call out because of trying to take care of themselves at mental health break, we decided to close schools, and that was making sure that we had coverage for every classroom.
Okay.
We weren't able to do that. So instead of risking more spillover from the incidents on Thursday, we decided to close school on Friday. And then on Monday and Tuesday.
So just a little clarification of that part, because one thing that was going around too was that there was still, because I heard you say mental health break to avoid spillover. One thing that was going around was that there were still some threats, and there was almost like a teacher sort of, or staff like protests of like, we're not coming back to the situation. Is there validity to that?
I hope that's not true.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm sorry. So you can go ahead. I just wanted to clarify.
No. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. I hope that's not true. I hope it was a valid mental health break and taking care of themselves in that regard. What that leads to is Monday and Tuesday, there won't be school for Charlottesville High School only. And so part of that work that will take place is with the staff members and with the administration to make sure that everyone knows their role, reevaluating protocols and practices, and making sure that everyone has an understanding of the students' rights and responsibilities, and going through the process to make sure that we're holding our students accountable and making sure that everyone is able to be on one accord, so that we're able to find the admin when we need to, the CSAs when we need to, et cetera. We want to make sure that we're on the same page and we can be one unit as we're trying to solve these issues.
And hopefully reestablish morale, right?
Reestablish morale. And I think over time, the hope is that you'll see a culture change as well.
Dom, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Hey, how you doing? Glad you're here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Dr. Pitts. I don't even know if you can answer this question, right? I particularly like the gentleman myself, but I almost feel like Dr. Pitts was a sacrificial lamb in this situation. Now, I would hope that if we're trying to make sure everything is safe for the children and the teachers, that we're doing it in the correct way and not giving the community a person that we can say, okay, well, we got rid of this person, now we're working on something. Too often I've seen that happen and the issues still carry on. So, like I said, I don't even know if you can comment on it, but it just feels that the way that, you know, there was a celebration of this man, and then right after that, it just seems like everything went downhill.
Yeah, I can't speak too much on personnel, but I'll say from the board perspective, we have not blamed, Mr. Pitt at all in regards. And, we didn't force him out. His resignation came before last Thursday's incident. So that's the most I can say.
Okay.
I enjoyed Mr. Pitt in the interactions that we've had. He's always been responsible and respectful towards me. So that's as far as I can say. I can see I can see your perspective and how maybe other people might have that perspective because it's so closely aligned. But it's not a thing, at least from the board's perspective, that we're blaming him and that we forced him out.
And I want to touch on something too. I believe after school activities are still taking place, like athletics.
I can't speak to that one. I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that was sent out. But yeah, so parents and everybody, double check on that as well for after school activities. So where do we take it next? Because it's like now we kind of got to dig in because as Razor said, we have a staff and a school system that has run into different things throughout the year. And I say school system, but a school, more so at the high school. Things have been changed, different things have been voted on by school boards to remove or add or whatnot. But something's missing, obviously, right? Like when it comes to whether it's our students being prepared and ready and like bought into the idea of school, there's something not clicking. So I'm curious, I guess first way to could start would be as the school board, like sort of what should the community know, what should the parents know that is the school board's I guess approach or agenda when you look at Charlottesville High School and you're saying, okay, like we need an outline, we need bullet points of things that need to be addressed.
Right.
Like how is that being how is that taking place? Right
now? So I think there are some things that have already been in place. And again, this goes back to being on one accord to make sure that everyone is within the building and externally, they know the proper protocols to follow and they can share the resources that we have. From the school board perspective, we have policy in place that addresses some of the discipline matters that we're referring to. And that's what I mentioned by the student rights and responsibilities. So
like what?
traditional fighting,
Mhm.
alcohol, cell phones, etc. And so there's this action takes place. Here's the consequence. But to make sure that we're not creating the pipeline to prison, we also have restorative practices in place as well. So that leads into mediation, as well as making sure we have our counseling support team. If a student is suspended, they come back with their parent and they have a re-entry meeting to make sure that the kid understands that their rights and their responsibilities and the expectations for them when they're coming back into the school, and making sure that the parent understands that as well.
And to what degree were these things, enforced or followed before things kind of culminated the past week?
Yeah, they've been in place. Well, I've only been on the board for about 2 years now. So for the last 2 years that I've been on the board, most of these things have been in place. Some of these things have been enhanced. And I will say the student rights and responsibilities, I think we updated that maybe roughly a year ago.
Okay.
And because it's still fairly new, that's what I'm talking about, being on one accord with each other and making sure we understand the new policy in regards to disciplinary matters.
Okay.
Dom,
Go ahead, Razor.
I just have to say it from my vantage point. I'm a person that has been to prison, right? And a lot of when I look back from over the course of my life, there were things that I was allowed to continue to do that led me to, once I became an adult, that sent me off to prison.
Yeah.
I understand trying not to do the prison to pipeline, pipeline to prison motto. But when you're dealing with a group of people that are running amok, that have there's really no punishment. There's nothing that I have to be afraid of. It was one thing when it was the boys. Now it's the boys and the girls, and however a person chooses to view their self, right?
Yes.
And what do we plan on doing as a school board? Because I believe y'all are going to have a closed meeting. So I'm wondering,
we had one yesterday.
Is anybody involving the children to see what they want or what they want to need? Not just individually once they've gotten in trouble and talking to them, but talking to the children as a whole. I know at one time Dr. Pitts was trying to incorporate those type things. But what I'm worried about is I have a son that goes to the high school that doesn't get in any trouble. So I worry about his safety. So are we focusing on trying to make the few that are doing bad stuff comfortable, or are we trying to make sure that the community is okay? And I don't think that from my understanding, feel that not you, but the administration as a whole is looking at how do we stop the problem. We might have to pull teeth. We might have to be rough on these particular children that are acting up, or the adults that decide to come inside there and bring forth the police chief and the system. We're not perpetuating anything. We're trying to stop it. We're trying to pull this one tooth out before it rots the whole mouth. But if we let it get too far, then all we're going to be doing is going after adults, trying to make them the reason that all this is happening, when we really need to dig in as a community, make some hard decisions so that the betterment of the community can be in the forefront.
Yeah. I think that leads me to where the conversation a little bit yesterday, and I won't speak too much because it was closed session, but in our public statement that went out yesterday, is that we want to make sure that everyone's on the same accord with the rights and responsibilities, because the school board will strictly enforce that. And that goes with the community as well. If you're a community member that comes into the school, partaking in, some of the situations that have gone on, you're going to be held according to the law. And the school board supports that in collaboration with the police. To get to your point, I think you're valid. That is 100% valid. And that strict enforcement from us will kind of undercut that. Over the last year and a half or so in our disciplinary meetings as school board members, we've really, really worked hard to ensure that we have all of the restorative justice practices in place that we can do as a school system. But that it comes to a point where a student might not get it, right? They might not take to that. And we can't want more for them than they want for themselves. So it might come down to some extended suspensions or some expulsions. I think the thing is for the community to just remember when these things take place, and you might see graduation rates drop, or you might be wondering, hey, why is this kid out on the streets right now? Just remember, and don't come back to us and saying, hey, we got too many of our Black and brown kids out on the street, or they're not graduating from high school. We had to cut a line, and we had to draw the line in the sand. So I think that's just something to keep in mind over the course of a year, the next couple of years or so.
You know, sorry, Charles, where are you
The next couple years, Dom, somebody gonna die inside that school if we don't get a handle on it. That's my humble opinion.
No, this is what I meant by the next couple of years. What you'll see in state reporting over the next couple of years will be a reflection of the school board taking a more strict approach.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean by the next couple of years.
And Max, I'm not sure if you were going to go a different direction, but I wanted to make sure that we, address sometimes the victim blaming that happens, and like the finger pointing that happens a lot of times, and we fail to realize that it has to be a holistic approach. And like Max, Dom, and Razor, one thing I want to do is try to keep this in perspective, and by going sort of step by step, you know what I mean, like to really have that conversation. Because and when I say victim blaming, what I mean is that we're talking about kids, like we're talking about children. So that means they were born into environments, or they're seeing things, or they're being nurtured in ways that cause them to act out or do the things that they do. I'm a Black man. I'm speaking to my people in particular right now. Whoever gets mad can get mad. But the fact is, we as a community, whether it's mental health, whether it's drug addiction, whatever the case is, we need our folks to step up to give the help where it's needed. And I need my parents.
That's right.
My parents who may know that they're not in a mental state, they may not be in a financial state, and they may see their kid as a stressor. So the kid is out here living their own life, doing their own thing. Get help. It's okay. We all need assistance. We all need help sometime. But again, like I'm not one that likes medicating. Like I like what's the cure? Let's get to the cure. And the fact is, if kids are coming to school hungry, kids come into school angry, kids coming to school didn't get any sleep, then what resources is the city going to provide? Are the organizations, are psychiatrists, all these people that claim to be so outraged? What resource are you bringing to the table to help these families? Because I don't like how stressed Mr. Pitt got. I don't like how stressed and sometimes unprotected staff feels. I don't even like fingers getting pointed at the school board so much. Yes, like nobody's perfect. Everybody has room for improvement. But we as a community, which includes our families, which includes our parents, we need to be assisting and help each other. And when we can't help ourselves, we need to be willing to accept the help needed.
And if I may make a comment, Charles, I feel a little kind of double-minded in thinking about this situation, issues that we're dealing with at the high school, only because we're only about a year and a half, 2 years into having children within Charlottesville City Schools and one kid at the high school. And so to some degree, I feel unqualified to say what we need, what changes need to be made. But what's clear is that we got lost along the way somewhere, whatever the answer is. And so, yes, if you could speak to what resources specifically are available, going to be made available to the child, the parent, or what have you, because I think it's a combination. What will work is a combination of consequences and resources being made available to kids, and relationships between staff and students, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah, so part of that,
are y'all serious?
What's up? What you mean?
Yeah, y'all serious? Like,
well, hold on. Let's let him respond.
Good. Okay.
Go ahead, Dom.
So part of Charlottesville City Schools, Bianca Johnson, we have a great team in terms of family engagement, working with a variety of nonprofits and individuals within the city to provide some of those mental health supports, as well as food access. Some are the Emergency Food Network. We've been in collaboration with City of Promise, Abundant Life Ministries. There are a variety of programs that we've been in contact, bringing people in, as well as directing people towards supports that already exist within their neighborhoods. So that is what we'll make sure that we continue to do and continue that parents have that access. I think the bigger thing is ensuring that parents are being able to check in on their kids in such a way that they know what their student is doing at that time. What I mean by that is, if you look in Power School, you can see your individual students' absentees and how many times they've been absent. If you know you're dropping them off, but you see a high number of absences, most likely they're walking the hallways. So that's one piece that a parent can do. From the school system, again, we're going to have some conversations Monday and Tuesday within the staff at CHS to ensure that the process and the protocols are enhanced, and to make sure that everyone is aware of those. We'll be getting feedback from the teachers as part of that process, and working together to enhance those.
So it sounds like a lot of these things were already in place, but possibly not being followed as they should have been by faculty and staff.
I think
I'm trying to hear the new stuff that you guys have implemented.
There's nothing new at this moment.
Okay.
We're still our closed board session. Believe it or not, I guess I'll clarify this. Closed board really is making sure in some ways that we could get the information. Just as you had rumors that are going around, and there are different things that are floating out. We as a board cannot officially meet unless we announce it to the public.
Right.
So as things are taking place on Thursday, the only reason some of us were together is because we were all at a decent amount of us were at a conference. Otherwise, we weren't in Charlottesville on Thursday. So we were getting emails. We're reading emails and trying to read through the lines to make sure that we have the information. So the closed board session is making sure that we have accurate information. Some of the solutions are really going to be developed Monday and Tuesday.
What's your response? Because I saw this comment, with all due respect, I want to know your response. Folks were saying that nobody should have been in a retreat. As soon as folks heard that there was a crisis at the city high school and that there was a staff shortage, that meant that everybody should have left the conference or retreat and came back like to town and dealt with it. I've heard that. I want to know your rebuttal to that.
It wouldn't have been enough people.
Okay.
We had 1, 2, maybe 5 school board members, and we had about 27 absences from teachers. That's okay. That does nothing. We were already in Williamsburg 2.5 hours away.
Okay.
Not saying that we couldn't have driven back, but it wouldn't have solved the issue. It wouldn't have filled that gap.
I do want to hear from Razor because
yes, please.
Yeah, did he answer you, Razor, or you still had some?
Nah, this is where it goes back for me. I honestly, in my heart of hearts, believe that we're making excuses for the children because of the age group that they're in. If you have an abundance of people fighting in the school, like, I'm not saying we need to line every hall with 6 and 7 officers and all that type stuff, right? But if you're going to do X, then Y may be immediate expulsion, especially if a person has a track record of doing certain things. To bring them back into the fold, right? There may need to be some alternative schools. There may need to be something, because now safety is going into the forefront. If I'm not saying this is the case, if a teacher feels threatened by a student, there's a problem. Because if our children felt threatened by another student, we would say this is a problem. So the giving the chance, I'm almost feeling like we're past that point, and now we have to say, okay, if your trajectory means that this is the way you want to live, then we need to remove that bad apple, so to speak, so the rest of them don't get soiled. Because I know for a personal, I watched it here recently, a good kid feeling like they got to start doing and acting a certain way because the tougher kids, so to speak, or the ones getting all the publicity, act a certain way. Now you're gonna have good kids that can't fight, that aren't bad kids trying to live up to a status inside of a school. And then what you're gonna have? You're gonna treat that kid actually runs the risk of getting hurt because they're not built like that. When you know you got a bad child, I'ma just say it. You have to remove them there. Now, what you do with them? They're choosing their future. Their parents are choosing their future. If they're walking around through the halls, get them out to school. It's very simple.
Yeah, you make a great point. Yeah, and I think we get that, but like the purpose, the point that I was making is that like those items that you mentioned, Razor, and I want Dom's, and everybody's thoughts on it, but like that's the collateral, right? It's like, yes, that needs to be addressed and dealt with, but it's too late.
Everything is choices, Charles. Everything is choice, not food, not all the other things that we like to say.
Right, but listen to what I'm saying though. What I'm saying is once it gets to that point to where you're dealing with an out of control child, only thing I'm saying is that that's collateral of another issue that we didn't fix. You see what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Let's get to it.
No, I'm in agreement with you. I'm in agreement with you. But now that we're here, remove it. Where it's not
Dom,
feed the kids and they're hungry, and then we're gonna let them stay here to try to make them better. No, remove them. And then if they do better, you bring them back.
Yeah, and Razor, so Dom, that leads into the next question that I was actually thinking anyway, is that you get to that point. All right, so SRO, school resource officers, are frowned upon, right? Like a CPS, Child Protective Services, frowned upon because people say like you're targeting, like with both of those instances. And I personally think that kind of stems from our bad relationship with just like law enforcement in general. So we have like negative preconceived notions. But to Razor's point, some tough love, if you want to call it that, needs to be done sometimes. And I think that's going to be a hard choice to make because you're going to have some people who don't think that that resource officers look appropriate in schools, like getting CPS involved. Is infringing and all that kind of stuff. But when as a school board, you're looking at these type of issues, like has that been talked about recently? Like what's the take on those couple of things or things maybe related to that as far as like when you think about security?
Yeah, I think I think it plays in a couple different factors here. I'll try to hit everything that's been mentioned. SROs, at some point it may be a conversation. We've had emails from the community, some to ask for us to rethink it. And then we've also had some community members reach out and say, hey, let's try to improve the model that we have. So I think at some point, there probably will be a conversation in regards to alternative placement. We have alternative placement at Lugo McGinnis. Over the last couple of years that I've been on the board, it's basically reached capacity. We were near capacity almost.
Which is a problem.
Yes. Yes.
Good point.
So part of that is coming out with the night school. In Max, to get back to what you were saying, new initiatives. Some things maybe are new to the public, but not new to me. So for me, it wasn't a thing of we don't have anything new to the public. Some of the things that the school board has been working on or the administration has been working on, it doesn't seem new to me. So let me clarify that. We have night school that should be rolling out. I think it's after the Thanksgiving break. And essentially that's alternative placement as well. We're going to be starting with a few kids and adding them on as necessary. Part of that is making sure that we have those core academic subjects that we need, as well as some community supports. So I believe we have Virginia Workforce working with, CareerWorks, Virginia CareerWorks. And then we also have KIP and some other entities around the city to help support in transition. It's some students, a comprehensive school, it just doesn't work. So we've been working on alternative placements, not just for high school students, but also for middle school students. The middle school, I think the new middle school academy started last school year, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking with Dom Morris, Vice Chair of your City of Charlottesville School Board. And Razor, this is sort of for you too, because I actually asked a Black Knight a question, student there at the high school about like what they think was needed when they talk to their friends. Like, what are you saying, like when it comes to issues popping up? And actually, let me preface that because about one, there's a lot of good that happens and that comes out of that school. it's sad that the publicity is always around negative stuff. Like people always want to see the train wreck. Everybody lines up to watch the train wreck, you know, and that's unfortunate. Like, so I want to salute our kids. I think we got to do that, Max. I want to salute our children that's trying, families, the staff, and everybody, like, you know, it's out there doing good things, but it still takes a village. We are still one community. And when you see our brother and sister in need, like we got to be real about this thing. And then people who are close to their brother and sister, sometimes the ego, pride get in the way. We don't want to ask for help when we need help. Let's ask for it, because I'm standing firm on that, Max. I'm standing 10 toes down that's where these issues start. Anything else is just medicating an illness that we have, and we ain't trying to cure it unless we start in the neighborhood and at home. And I'm not sitting here saying that, you know, that my child that goes there is perfect. Nobody's kid, no teacher, no school board member is going to be perfect, right? But there's still definitely sort of a line where I think we all can agree that, you know, when things go too far, you know, and saying that, I was talking to that young person, and their answer, you know, I'm gonna keep it FCC related, but their answer was that we need to stop acting like ends. We need to stop acting like that. You know what I mean? Like, so I expected, you know, like these young Black kids to, you know, like to maybe be like, oh, well, like I would like, you know, I'm like all the doors to be locked, or you know what I'm saying, or like, you know, something like that. But they was like, we need to stop acting like ends. That's what, and it was, when we say let's ask students. I'm just saying that was a conversation with the Charlottesville student, and so like to me again, like that just takes it back to like we have a, dare I say, a spiritual problem. Like we have a people problem, a community problem. Like, so let's stop, you know, pointing the fingers. But like Razor, Max, you know, if Dom want to touch on that. You know, I mean, because we're kind of this generation, like our generation is essentially the parents that are there now. And there's a lot of like bad habits that we had that we thought was going to make us grown. Like we wanted to be so independent and we wanted to be our kids' friend, all that stuff. And we're seeing the result of a lot of that.
Well, that's the, you know, Charles, that's probably the only conclusion that I could come to when in thinking about this problem and how to resolve it is that we took God out of school, and that was a mistake. And you know, Charlotte, the issues that CHS is dealing with, many other schools are dealing with as well. But that's the one thing that I felt solid about is, we're lost and our kids are lost as people.
I'm trying to find out where I want to fit into this. I guess I'll make sure I just stick in the school board role here.
Be safe.
I'll say it this way: in terms of the school system, I think there's wonderful work that's being done throughout the school system, of all ethnicities. I had a call with a teacher maybe about 6 months ago, and found out that, you know, the student, you know, needed a little extra support. But the support was a little bit more mental health related, but the student was still an excellent student and had nearly a 4.0. And this is an African-American young lady, but just didn't have the household to, you know, try to work through some of those issues. I think there's a little bit of it as in terms of generational. Some of the younger parents, as you mentioned, Charles, you know, they want to have the friendship. And their students are,
which can work, but you got to be a parent first.
You got to be a parent first. And I think the thing is, for our community as a whole, is to ensure that when you see maybe it's your niece, your nephew, to also have that conversation with who would be your sister or your brother, to say, I see my niece or nephew falling and slipping. How can we as a family come together to support them through this? And drug addiction is huge. This is on the outside of my family as well. You have to be able to, as a household is struggling with drugs, the rest of the family needs to come in and support the children that are within that household or help take them out of that household. And I'm not even saying CPS. I'm just saying as a family, say, let your child come stay with me for a while and to get them on good footing and allowing that parent to take care of themselves as well.
That's big.
There are just a lot of things within our community. But when I talk to a lot of the grandparents understand. The grandparents understand that, hey, we got to draw a line here as a community, and we have to do it in such a way that the household, the students are able to get some reading, some mathematics, just on an entry level basis, because the way that the brain develops is there's a big development spike before the student even gets to pre-K or kindergarten.
So to what degree has the school board discussed or made decisions in terms of things that are impacting our students that derive from institutional systematic problems, right? So, I mean, it runs a gamut of housing security, food security, and economics, and, list goes on and on.
Yeah, so school board, we have committees, just as people might be aware of. For the city council, they have committees that they attend. Sometimes it's one member, sometimes it's two, depending on the committee. So we're in some of those conversations as school board members. The other part of that is our recent purchase of K-Tech. We're trying to make sure that that is a piece that we can send families to ensure that they have the economic security for their households. But again, we understand that there's additional trauma, there's additional addiction, mental health illnesses within those. And we're just trying to make sure that they have a place to make them and their households better in terms of what the schools can provide.
Because let's be real, we got to tap into that first and foremost, or you can implement any and everything, and it won't have the impact that the board is intending for it to have.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So that's why we have our board members on specific committees. I know we have a board member on a housing committee. We have some in relation to special ed, which there's a piece there that, in terms of special education, sometimes we don't have the services within the building. So we have some additional services, and we've partnered with other counties as well.
So what's giving the school board solace that it's going to be okay when the high school reopens? Like what from current measures versus maybe some, I heard you say there's not really any new measures, really just as of now implementing things that, policies you have in place. But when that school opens, what is the conversation amongst the board that gives you comfort and feeling like, yeah, we're good to reopen?
No, I got a question for you. What members of your school board are going to be standing in that school the day that it reopens to welcome those students?
That's a great question. That's a great question. I don't know if we've gotten that far in terms of who will be standing in the school, because as school board members, we have jobs ourselves. So it's not a full-time gig for us. We don't get paid handsomely for this. This is service to the community. So I'm not saying that people won't. I just don't know who. So I guess the thing is, to some degree, we're still on we're still listening from the community. We're making sure that we're reading each and every email that comes through. We're answering phone calls as they come through. Monday, Charlottesville United for Public Education will have a listening session with myself and Lisa Larson Torres, school board member and former chair. So we're still listening. Monday and Tuesday, we're going to be listening to staff. Staff will be working on this issue. So our solace comes from the effort that our staff will be putting forward. Our solace comes from the effort that our administration will be putting forward. And really, we have trust in them. It's really about changing the culture and making sure that we're on one accord to change that culture.
Dom, if you can take this back to the school board, what I just heard you say, unfortunately, was a disconnect. And what Max is pretty much asking is, y'all gonna have some skin in the game.
Skin in the game. We have skin in the game.
No, I'm talking about standing in the school is where the problem is. So it doesn't have to be everybody, but y'all need to have some people that's saying, yeah, we working on the problem, but we also going to meet the students here and tell them, look, hey, we're here. That's
Yes.
what I heard Max say. So that's when I said that kind of skin in the game. Like there's a
Understood.
problem, and yet we going where the fire is.
Understood.
Not
Understood.
you specifically, but somebody from the school board at least.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah. So and one of the things that you all put out was like a hiring blitz almost, or like a volunteer request. How's that going? Anything you want to touch on that people should know about, like the list of ways that they could apply to be involved?
Yeah, so you can go to charlottesvillecityschools.org. In our community tab, there's a volunteer link for our webpage, and you can volunteer to participate within the school system. We also have a tutoring program that'll be coming up, and you can look out for some jobs and connect with the school for that. For CHS specifically, having people from the community, having faces that the students recognize will be very, very key. I know some of the things that have been discussed of having those community members during lunchtime, which I think is very, very key. Some of the issues that we've had have been during lunch. I don't know how many people that are listening have been in Charlottesville High School recently, and really since it's been built. There are a lot of issues in terms of the way that the school is configured. There are a lot of kind of like hidden spots. And so, having additional coverage there is helpful. Any community member that can partake in that, we would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, and Razor, to your point too, the brothers have been talking about being there for a welcome, as we've done it at schools before, whenever they go back. Like, so that's
Absolutely. I was there with you when we did the middle school, but I'm talking about the ones that's making the decision.
Oh, for sure. Yep. It's one of the people know, and also make sure people know about tomorrow, Monday evening, 6 o'clock at the MLK Performing Arts Center. There's also going to be a community forum surrounding this as well for folks to come out. But Dom, like you've kind of already said it, but we are up against the end of the show. But I want to make sure that you clearly express to the listening audience what you feel that we need, because you're also local. You're from here,
right?
And now you're on a board of decision makers. So as everybody has opinions and pointing fingers, like what would be your sort of sign off words to folks? Like when it comes to what you see the need is.
I'll say this: everyone has a role to take here. Everyone has a role to take, from the school board through the administration, teachers, parents, students. Everyone has a role here. Everyone can get better. School board perspective, we're trying to make sure that the policies are in place. We're making sure that teachers have feedback on those policies and are able to contribute to see what's working and what's not working. In terms of the community as a whole, in terms of parent households, make sure you understand what your child is doing throughout the day. You can look on Canvas and see if they're missing work. You can look on Power School and see if they're absent from classes, even though you drop them off, you put them on the bus. Make sure you know what your child is doing. I'm gonna put it the way, dig in their business, okay? That's the best way.
Preaching to the choir. You're making me uncomfortable, Dom.
But it's necessary.
Yeah, you're right.
It's necessary because the first line of a preventative action is before they even get to the school system. If you know that your child is having an issue with someone else in the community, reach out to the administration, please. So we can put things in place. We can make sure that we have one of our counselors speak to your child or speak to the opposing party to make sure that they're no longer opposing parties.
That's one of the best things you've said during this interview. Just saying. No, it's been a great interview, but that type of actual tool that these kids can use could help, prevent any further occurrence of what has been happening at the school. So
Well, thank you, Mr. Max. You have any closing word? In the city and county, what are y'all doing? We need recreation, because when that's the last thing I got, Max, I'll let you take us home. When we were out Friday, I was like, so where are they gonna go? Where the kids gonna go? Then I'm looking at all this land in Albemarle, and like our brother Wes says all the time, we let the county off the hook too much time because the city is landlocked. But how come we don't have Dave and Buster's? How come we don't have like these recreational these positive outlets for the kids to do?
When y'all come into a council meeting, I guess that's what Charles is trying to say.
When school boards come to council meeting?
Yeah.
I mean, we have members that are meeting. We have members that regularly speak with council.
Okay.
So we might not be at the physical meeting sometimes. We're watching online, but we have their number. They have our number to some degree. So those conversations take place. In terms of Dave and Buster's, that sounds like a business venture to me.
Yeah, but access to
I mean, we don't need another Wawa, I'll tell you that.
activities, is an outlet for some of these people.
Yeah, I mean, I think from my recollection, City Parks and Rec is doing a new strategic plan. I don't know where they are in terms of that process. So make sure you're looking on the city website for that and reaching out to them to make sure your voice is heard. There's a lot of work to be done throughout the city. And when I say city, I'm talking about every entity and really everybody. Because if the public is not speaking up, then your community servants, your leaders can't support you.
Good stuff.
Thank you, man.
Yep. Thank you.
Appreciate you. And I'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Hopefully.
Have a good one. Have a good one. And thank you, Razor.
Hey, thank you, man. Proud of you.
Thank you.
All right.
It's Mac.
We're over time. So yeah, thank you to all of our listeners. Thank you to our guests for today. Just be safe and take care. We'll see you next time.
If anybody missed it, look it up. IMHO. Please share this. If you have never shared the show before, IMHO Talk Show, YouTube, Facebook. Look us up. Make sure everybody chimes in.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.